I saw this clocking and I was like, well, we have to watch it now. Well, we have to watch it.
You think Bad Bunny is a good choice for the Super Bowl?
I'm not that knowledgeable about him, but it seems fine, and I don't know why it's a big deal. Seems like a great American artist, so sure.
He's not an American artist, but
he's Puerto Rican. That's part of America, dear.
She ate. I'm afraid she ate. She cooked. She fried. She ate again, and then she left no crumbs. Oh man, it's tough. It's tough. Run it back. Yeah, sorry.
You think Bad Bunny is a good choice for the Super Bowl?
I'm not that knowledgeable about him, but it seems fine, and I don't know why it's a big deal. Seems like a great American artist, so sure.
He's not an American artist, but
he's Puerto Rican. That's part of America, dear.
Like, I think you gotta turn off the monitor. At that point, you gotta fucking uninstall System 32 and stop making content. It's tough. Oof. All right. So let's watch, shall we?
I don't know if you're a Mamdani fan.
That's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
We are now living in a fascist dictatorship.
We are worried about potential rise of fascism in this country. We're worried about our democracy falling to an authoritarian and potentially fascist form of government.
Not only to roll over to Donald Trump's will, but to roll over our democracy and allow him to take over this country as a fascist dictator.
When fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
And it continues. The assassination attempts on President Trump weren't enough. The public execution of Charlie Kirk wasn't enough. The 1,000% uptick in assault on our federal agents, still not enough. The leftists, the libs, and yes, mainstream elected Democrats who desperately want to be president, all singing off the same sheet of music. And they won't stop because, frankly, I don't think they care what the ramifications are. Fascist this, Nazi that, Timu Hitler, Putin's hoe.
Timu Hitler, Putin's hoe is crazy.
It all. Did these leftists even know the definitions of the slanderous and disgusting labels they throw on us? If you believe in school choice, a secure border, energy independence, or God forbid, traditional values, you're basically a Mussolini cosplayer, right? I want to have the discussion. I know that you tweet a lot about it, and I'm very interested to hear if you think President Trump is a fascist, and if you think that I, by definition, as a conservative, am also a fascist.
I don't think everyone who supports President Trump is a fascist. I do think that President Trump is a fascist, though, and I'll give you a perfect example, Tommy. It's kind of an awkward day for you to give this spiel because Trump is speaking to all the generals today in Quantico, and he just said that he's going to use the military against the enemy within, which is part and parcel of what he's been doing with deploying the National Guard in cities across the country. So when you ask about definition of fascism, the president really sort of gave his own definition of fascism.
And this is the core of the issue, which is Trump will do some shit. People will say this is insane and fascistic. No wonder people call him, Putin's hoe. And then they all are like, you just want to call him Hitler. It's like, all right, man. I don't think you're really engaging with anything anyone's saying, but okay.
Today. I know you want to agree with that, but
yeah,
let me just make a broader point here.
Yeah, I want to dive into
Well, let me just make a broader point here because, I think as someone who came from a side that did a lot of tone policing and, by the way, called out people who were policing rhetoric and doing the whole cancel culture thing, I would really caution you from going down this path, especially as someone who, is a commentator, uses your words for a living. I know in the past I did a little bit of research.
Would you rather they just be out there and be attacked by Molotov cocktails and bottles and things being lit on fire around them, buildings being lit on fire? I mean, is that your preferred course?
Well, first of all, I would say I don't think you should believe everything that you see on Fox News.
Holy mogging!
Tommy, because that is not the reality in any of these cities. And I spend quite a bit of time in Washington, D.C.
Dude.
Second of all, local law enforcement exists for a reason. And there's a reason why we have a separation between civilian local law enforcement and the military. The military is trained to go after enemies, Do you see the American people as the enemy? Because that's the way that President Trump is framing this. He
Krystal,
is saying
in DC,
the
are the
enemy
National
within
Guard
is the
going
American
after you?
people.
In the National Guard in DC, have they gone after you? Have they militarized?
Have they gone after me specifically?
Or have they gone after anybody? Can you give me an example of where the National Guard in DC has hurt an American civilian or has been militarized against an American citizen? Because they've been there for what now, a couple months?
We have the Posse Comitatus Act. You cannot actually engage in civilian law enforcement. A lot of what they've done is to back up ICE agents, so we can have a whole separate conversation about the aggressive abuses there and the way that American people feel that that has gone way too far in a way that has been aggressively.
I get what Krystal Ball is trying to do. She's trying to like court some of the viewers who are somehow watching Tomi Lahren by pretending like, yeah, okay, there might be legislation in place, which, by the way, Tomi Lahren did not bring up. She just wanted to swag on her a little. That the National Guard can't do this. But in reality, they can do whatever they want because Trump can do whatever he wants because he's a fascist.
Violent. A lot of what they have done in DC is frankly like a waste of taxpayer dollars, picking up trash and just standing around. However, that doesn't mean that we should accept the image and normalize having military soldiers. And in LA, you know, they use active duty Marines in our streets. So you're right. In DC, in Chicago, so what we've seen so far, a lot of this is like fascist theater, but it is meant to intimidate. It is meant to send a message
thugs and
that
felons,
political opposition will not be tolerated. And you have to put it together, Tomi. I genuinely want to ask you this question. Like, is there nothing that
the thugs and villains, by the way, because the National Guard is, in fact, I mean, Krystal Ball is correct. The National Guard is there to help ICE do its job, and its job is to grab as many people off the street as they can possibly grab and get away with. And where is it? I saved it. Maybe it was on my other account. I think it might have been here. Wait, what? Wait, but I saved it. There was a woman talking about how she was fucking picked up off the street, and they had like, let me see if I can find it. One sec.
He's done that you feel like, you know, it's a little too far. None of this you feel this is a little too far. Saying policing comedians' monologues, right?
He's not
using lawsuits to threaten media, consolidating media in the hands of his allies.
I know that you're not trying to allege that Jimmy Kimmel or Colbert were taken off the air because of President Trump.
They obviously were. I mean,
you're not trying to claim that water is wet, right? That's too absurd. Bruh. This is what I was talking about. Sorry, it took me a second to find this. I thought I saved it, but apparently I guess I didn't. ICE repelled from Black Hawk helicopters to detain U.S. citizens, grab everyone at apartment complex, even zip tie the children together. They had black people in one van and immigrants in another. One ICE agent literally laughed. He said, "Fuck them kids." Yeah, this is a good use of our taxpayer dollars. I'm glad federal agents are getting directly involved with ICE so we can rappel off of fucking helicopters. Well, yeah, helicopters to grab random U.S. citizens.
They took everyone and then asked questions later.
They just treated us like we were nothing.
Patricia Fisher says she came out to the hallway of her apartment complex on the corner of 75th and South Shore Drive in her nightgown around 10 Monday night, only to find ICE agents yelling police.
It was scary because I've never had a gun put in my face. They asked my name and my date of birth and asked me did I have any warrants, and I told them no, I didn't.
She says she was then handcuffed and released around 3 a.m. Fisher says she was told if anyone had any kind of warrant out for them, even if it was unrelated to immigration, they would not be released. Citizen App video shows the chaotic scene over and says budget trucks and military-style vans were used to separate parents from their children. Other neighbors say they saw agents destroying property to get in the building.
And they had a big 15-inch chainsaw with a round blade on it cutting this fence down. We're under siege. We're being invaded by our own military.
The FBI did confirm this morning that they did help the U.S. Border Patrol carry out a targeted immigration enforcement operation in this area, and they say they have been supporting these efforts at the direction of the U.S. Attorney General.
Bro, to the chatter that just said, ICE is just doing what's necessary. Tell me you're being sarcastic right now. Say psych right now, please. Please. So yeah, this idea that Tomi Lahren is like, Krystal Ball, they haven't done anything yet. The federal agents literally haven't done anything. So it's actually totally fine. What they're doing is totally fine.
Kimmel in particular.
Like, bruh, We definitely need ICE. Someone has to enforce the law. It's true. So the law here is putting children in zip ties and putting U.S. citizens who were born and raised here, whose parents were born and raised here, whose parents were born and raised here, in handcuffs? Can you show me where that law is? The law that tells you can just grab random U.S. citizens off the street and handcuff them? For no reason? Oh, let me check the law. Oh, the law says here you've got a little bit too much melanin. Oh, yeah. Okay, detainer. Detainer. I love this chatter who's just like, haha, surely I will never say anything anti-Trump. Haha. Surely I will never be targeted by the leopard-eating face party. Haha. Denim's where we drop in an apartment complex so we can bag the non-white children. Yep. Yep. Just throw them in vans. Yep. These random fucking citizens, just throw them in vans and handcuff them.
Bear, you could make another argument about. But the FCC commissioner came out and said we could do this the easy way or the hard way. And next thing you know, Disney pulls the plug. Why? Because
why
they
did they
know that
reinstate
this
him
president weaponizes the federal government
Why was he
against his
reinstated?
adversaries. They're worried about their business deals because the backlash was so severe. Look, these people don't care about anything about their bottom line. I hope you agree with that.
Do you think that I have so many questions for you? That whole thing like democracy under attack, dictator on day one, that worked so well for you guys in November of last year. I'm actually shocked that you're still using it and you think that it's working on the American people. It didn't, and
But
it's
Tommy,
not.
not everything is about a poll. Right. Some things are about like you actually have a principle and you actually care about protecting First Amendment.
I mean, to me, if you guys think that though, that's fine.
This is to me,
Krystal,
one of the best things about America. Is
I do
my
too.
ability and your ability to say what we think. You know, and I know you've been critical at times of Trump. I'm sure you'd like to preserve the ability to be so.
Dude, get her ass! Get her ass! Yes! Fight!
I'm sure you'd like,
of course,
if there's
and
a
I don't
future
think that I have any
Newsom.
danger.
One only bit of commentary here that I must add at this moment is that this is kind of like kicking a puppy. It's like this oddly very racist puppy, but like she's getting dog walked right now. Like this isn't even a fair fight. This really is not a fair fight at all, but like I'm here for it.
AOC administration.
Yeah, I don't think that.
But do you
Like
worry?
a yapping chihuahua.
Do you worry about the turnabout, though?
No, I don't.
Do you worry that when it's an AOC or a Gavin Newsom, that you're going to be the one put on the domestic terror watch list?
Krystal.
Because that's what's happening right now.
Krystal. So if you did a little bit more research, you would know.
Her show, ... What do you mean? That she's getting dog walked on her own show? Is that what you're saying? Because I agree.
No, that your guy, AutoPen, actually did pressure social media companies to deplatform me, to move me down in the algorithm, to reduce
If you did
me.
a little bit of research, you would know that I complained and protested against those sorts of actions. I have been consistent in saying we should not have a ministry of truth.
This is an actual
Government
example.
should not be involved. Hold on. Government should not be involved.
This is like the right-winger favorite position to have, which is, oh yeah, well, your guy isn't good either. It's like, we know. Do you think we like him? We don't.
Pressuring social media companies to cancel. What the Biden administration did, as revealed in the Twitter files and the Hunter Biden laptop suppression, I spoke out against all of that. So you can't get me on that crap.
Well, I'm glad that you did. We are pressured to deplatform people, to lock people out of the accounts, delete accounts, reduce people on these platforms during COVID, calling it misinformation, disinformation. We have concrete examples of this, but then you say, well, you know, because they deceptively edited that Kamala interview, and because Colbert lost his show because he lost money, and because Kimmel was off the air for 5 days. That's your example of like the government's cracking down on free speech, when I have an actual example of
No, I mean, I would point at like the Mahmoud Khalils of the world who like got grabbed off the street, even though they were legally here, but they, protested? They organized a pro-Palestinian protest?
actually silence
That seems
people.
like silencing actual people's free speech.
Here it is. Citizens, content creators, influencers, politicians, doesn't matter. They did all these things. And you're like, but Colbert and Kimmel, you see why it's hard for me to believe.
I mean, I don't even the Kimmel shit is so baby brain. Like, that's so the only reason people cared about the Kimmel shit and less so about all the other cases of people getting disappeared is because Kimmel is like a big household name, unfortunately. Much to my chagrin, okay?
believe you when you're like, the First Amendment
Tommy,
is now under
hard
attack.
For me. It's hard for me when you spoke out against those things under the Biden administration and you have nothing to say about what's happening with the Trump administration.
No comment.
Look at the way they are trying to designate.
Oh, dude, she's kind of getting mogged. This is a good strat. Sorry for this pause frame, Krystal Ball, but like Krystal Ball being like, yeah, and I spoke out against it when Biden didn't and speaking out against it now. But why the fuck are you not speaking out about it against it now? Sorry, speaking out against it now, even though you were down to do it under Biden. It seems like you're kind of partial and you don't actually care about these principles. You just care about it being your guy.
Speech as material support for terrorism. Pam Bondi coming out and saying the exact woke thing that I'm sure you objected to in the past.
And I did disagree with that when Pam Bondi came out and said, yeah, I disagree.
When Trump came out and said the exact same thing and said, you're not allowed to criticize me.
No, he did not say that.
Speech.
He never said that.
He
said, we're cracking down on Antifa. I think that there is a limit when it comes to credible threats. But outside of that, I'm more talking about, you mentioned the National Guard and the troops, and I asked you about Antifa. I'm talking about actions now. I'm not talking about words. I'm talking about actions. When Antifa goes out in the street and they light things on fire, or they're firebombing and ice.
Can we please see these videos of these Antifa members just going and lighting all of DC on fire? Because I don't feel like we've seen enough of this footage to justify whatever the fuck is happening right now.
Facility. Things of that nature. Do you not think that the National Guard might be helpful in deterring some of that violence, not just to protect the federal agents, but also the federal buildings? And I don't know, maybe make the area a little bit safer for the businesses and others that are operating in that vicinity to be able to carry about their daily business without being antagonized by freaks who consider themselves to be Antifa warriors?
First of all, let's talk a little bit about Antifa. Antifa, as you know, just stands for anti-fascist. I think we should all be anti-fascist. I would suspect that you would view yourself as also being anti-fascist. So Antifa as this like well-organized, well-oiled machine thing is a right-wing fantasy made up and invented out of whole cloth. So let's just put that out there. But look, if there's crimes, prosecute the crimes. Guess what? Local law enforcement is saying, we got this. Local leadership is saying, we got
Krystal,
this.
They're not.
And so if
local
you have
law
certain,
enforcement has been hamstringed by your Democrats who want everybody to be doing arts and crafts out on the street. And you
Famously, cops in blue cities hate targeting minorities. Everyone knows this.
know
it is
that
extraordinary.
damn well.
That's
they
ridiculous.
don't prosecute crime,
so
Krystal. They don't prosecute crime. That's why you have people that have been arrested 36 times
in the city of Portland.
Oh, Portland is just
crime
a fever
reduction
dream.
in the city of Portland. Baltimore, Maryland has the lowest homicide rate right now, on track, lowest
Krystal,
on
would you
record.
go walk around
crime
Baltimore
is
at
going
night?
down, so you can't.
Krystal,
you
would you go walk around Baltimore at night by yourself?
I would be fine walking around Baltimore.
I'd love to see it.
Night.
Would you film it next time?
I'm not afraid of this country. I'm not afraid of the people in this country.
All right,
I don't think
Holy Fox News!
love to
we're
see the
at
video.
war with the people in this country.
Krystal, I would love to see you go walk around these cities at night by yourself. Take a video and send it to me.
I've lived in these cities. I've walked around, and not Baltimore specifically. I walked around plenty of cities, New York City at night, etc. It's not something to be terrified of. In any case,
Trump was. What do you mean? Do you have like evidence of this? Trump was parading it around. Enjoy.
Number one. Number two, very few of the drugs that come into this country, which mostly are trafficked in by American citizens, by the way, come from Venezuela. Number three, reporters found the widowed wife of one of the fishermen who was blown up. Okay, so I don't know
Krystal,
why
are these
you just
the same?
accept
Are these the same
uncritically.
kind of people?
Hold on.
No,
why
let me
do you
speak.
just accept uncritically what this
of all,
administration says at every
Krystal,
turn? Like, don't you have a little bit of an inquisitive
I love
mind?
It.
Like, let me question a little bit. Let me question the government a little bit and what they're saying.
Krystal, here's my question for you. Those same people, the fishermen on these boats with all the drugs and whatever that just happen to be on there, are they the same thing as the farmers in Iraq and Afghanistan who are just digging holes on the side of the road, filling them with bombs to blow up our soldiers? The same kind of like the farmers.
You don't think that we massacred civilians in Iraq? You think we didn't massacre civilians at times in Iraq?
I'm sure that we did. It's called war, my friend. But
Yeah.
this whole thing of like, they're just fishermen. They're just farmers. It's bullshit. And you know it's bullshit. But what's weird to me is Democrats will go out of
it's
your
weird
way.
to me that you just accept whatever this administration says when they lie.
That's crazy. This is like the perfect encapsulation of everything that's wrong with the average conservative. Just when it comes to other people killing Americans, well, you know what? They were guilty all along. They're just trying to kill us because they hate our freedoms and they're fucking evil and they're brown and we hate them. Us when we fucking massacre millions. That's called war, sweaty. That's called war. It's the same thing when you talk to like Zionist freaks, like the really pro-Israel, pro-genocide fuckers. They're like, you point out the hundreds of thousands that are dead in Gaza. They're like, it's called war, sweetie. It's called war. Hamas kills whatever, 1,000 people. This is a tragedy, a crime. I cannot believe anyone would ever sympathize with Hamas. No one sympathizes with Hamas. I can't believe anyone would do this when they kill hundreds of thousands. It's called war, sweetie. That's great. Isn't that so great that when other people do violence, they're terrorists and they deserve to die, and we need to do everything we can to kill as many of them as possible? And when we do that, it's just war, sweetie.
All the time. Like their go-to move is just to lie about some stuff. We were told the CCOT guys were the worst of the worst. Oh, they're the worst of the worst. They're these violent criminals. They're all gang members. Lo and behold, the vast majority of them had no criminal records. Many of them were following the vast majority of them had no criminal records, and some of them were following the immigration procedures. So, you know, they're trying to, or they're deporting him to a random third country.
Krystal, so
but because they knew. No, but Tommy, the reason they're doing that is because they knew they
doesn't have any rebuttals for any of the things that Krystal Ball is saying. She just says like, okay, well, I wasn't listening, so I'm going to ask you about this now.
We're not going to be able to get a conviction against them because there was no there on this nonsense that they ginned up against him.
So when he was in Tennessee with all those people in the vehicle that had no luggage and didn't really know where they were going, he wasn't trafficking people. They were just heading out to a party. Heading out to like a Tupperware party or what?
Law enforcement evaluated the situation and
no. The Biden administration said let him go.
So I'm going to take the cops.
No,
Krystal. I'm going to take the cops' word for it at the time. Versus those are our law enforcement officers in Tennessee.
What a crazy world to live in as like a right winger or as like Tomi Lahren, where it's just like, oh really? So you're just innocently existing here, huh? So we don't have any proof you're doing any of the things that we want you to be doing so we can arrest you and deport you. But I think we all know what's really happening. And it's like, you're just like buying some cheese at the store. And you're like, what are you talking about? You're like, you're trying to commit eco-terrorism because you're going to eat all that cheese and then you're going to fart all over. It's like, bro, I just want to buy some cheese. No, we don't need any proof that you're going to do this. We already know based on what we can see with our own two eyes. It's like, but I'm just trying to buy some fucking cheese. It's like, isn't it law enforcement's job to prove that this person actually did this crime? That there's enough evidence? Aren't they supposed to spend their time procuring the evidence so that we can make sure we kick out the right people?
Government.
Krystal, law enforcement officers in Tennessee.
Let me ask you this, Tommy.
I know that this is your game to just interrupt me the entire time, but you're not going to do it.
You like to let criminals go free and not have to serve time in prison?
I like them to be deported. We tried to send him to El Salvador, but unfortunately you guys cried about that and over margaritas. So there was that. Let's go to this. I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on this. Pete Hegseth thinks that we should have uniform standards for men and women in combat.
See, like, I don't know what we're supposed to do about reaching people like this, whose their mindset is already at like, I don't care if this has bad ramifications for me later. I want to deport these people now. And I don't really care if we have what we need to be able to deport them. This will definitely not bite us in the ass later. What do you... Because it's not a matter of facts. Like, you're providing all the facts and showing like this is terrible. And their position is just, I don't care. I don't want to think about the potential consequences or the potential negative side effects. That's too much effort and work. What do you, like... What do you say and or do? Is it just like you're fried? You're just totally fried.
Positions. I'm going to play the clip and then we'll hear.
Today we sow, tomorrow we'll reap.
Your take on it.
This, and I want to be very clear about this, this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force, you must trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable, truly physically capable of doing
The warrior, meanwhile, we just drone strike.
what is necessary under fire. You know, this is the only standard.
Americans love to pretend like all of the violence and atrocities we commit in other countries are just because we have brave soldiers that go down there and do that. And there's like a handful. Now, I'm going to stop the thought there. But the vast majority of the crimes that we commit and the murder that we engage in is like literally just drone strikes. I'm sorry, but you don't need a man to press the drone strike button. Like women can commit war crimes just as well on a fucking computer.
Would want for your kids and for your grandkids. Apply the War Department Golden Rule, the 1990 test, and the E6 test, and it's really hard to go wrong.
It's so crazy also when the U.S. military at the same time is recruiting dudes by saying that flying a drone is like playing video games. You know, the U.S. military should just full send it and make a TikTok of like, my life is like a video game. Except instead of like the dude who's like doing that shit with the Nintendo Switch, it's just you committing war crimes and killing tons of brown people.
Krystal, I'm sure you got an issue with that. So you want to tell me what it is?
I don't have an issue, Tommy. It's fine.
You don't?
Fewer women sent to fight and die in pointless foreign wars, fine with me.
So you're fine with the standards. So you agree with our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, that we need to have uniform standards. And if women can't meet them, then that's DEI doesn't apply here?
What do you want? You want us to be mad that it's happening? Sorry, wait. If we're mad that the standards are changing so that less women serve, if we're mad, we just want DEI. And we want woke standards, and we're all a bunch of dumb leftists. And if we aren't mad, it's like, well, I guess you don't care then that all the men are dying and not the women. So much for feminism. It's like, what the fuck do you want? Like, literally, what do you want? I want them to make the standards so high that no one is getting drafted, okay?
Like I said.
Or not drafted, but no one qualifies.
Fewer women sent overseas, fewer everyone sent overseas to fight and die in useless foreign wars, then I have no problem with that.
Well, I'm so happy to hear you say that. And I'm assuming that you're against DEI then just universally, or do you like the DEI concept?
Do you like the DEI concept?
Actually, I'm against. It depends on your definition of DEI. I think Republicans have perverted it to just mean like when black people get jobs. For example, the mayor of Baltimore was called a DEI mayor, even though he was democratically elected just because he happens to be a black man. But, you know, I've opposed things like affirmative action used in college admissions and things of that nature. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad that we can both agree that the Department of War should not be using DEI. So we found one area of agreement. Hallelujah. I'm glad that you brought up DEI hires, though, in terms of what we Republicans think of it. What do you
This is so cocked.
think about that Iowa superintendent who's an illegal alien? What do you think about him getting that job? Are you cool with that one too, or you're going to surprise me maybe?
I mean, in terms of his performance on the job, it seems like he did a good job. The community is out protesting his potential deportation because he was getting test scores back up after there was COVID learning loss. And, you know, I mean, to me, this is someone who apparently is exactly the type of person we would want in this country, not just when he was in Des Moines, but he also had a high-level role in St. Louis school systems and Pennsylvania school district. He was considered an outstanding principal in the Washington, D.C. school system. He's been in the country for decades, and he seems exactly like the sort of person that we should reward with citizenship, who's a tremendous benefit to our country and to his community.
The weapons they found, that doesn't concern you at all?
I thought you were a 2A girl.
I am a 2A girl, but illegal aliens doesn't apply to them, babe. They don't get to just walk around willy-nilly.
I don't have a problem with someone having a hunting rifle personally.
So you don't care if illegal aliens have?
No, I think he should have
firearms?
Citizenship. That's my point. I don't really understand why you guys think the story is like a good one. And your side,
because Democrats tell us that they're not getting these jobs. You guys tell us they're not.
He's not the stereotype that you're trying to perpetuate about undocumented immigrants. You know, he has been an upstanding community member for decades. He's served school districts. He's been a fantastic educator. He was performing, apparently, according to locals, he was performing quite admirably in this job right here. So no, I believe that immigrants are a net benefit to society, and I believe someone like him should have been rewarded with citizenship long ago.
But
now, like clearly he lied in the
But
job
he's
application
brown.
process.
Why is she wearing a Star Trek uniform? Dude, that is a good question. She should fucking take that shit off. I don't think she knows that. Listen, right-wingers don't have media literacy. I don't think she knows that Star Trek is just, I'll say it, gay space communism.
That's not acceptable,
So
etc.
does that not bother
but
you
this
at
is
all,
exactly
though?
why we need. Well, to me, it's an example of how immigrants benefit our country and why we need a path to citizenship so that people can be brought out of the shadows and can contribute openly in society the way that this man was.
So I guess my larger question here isn't about maybe him himself. If you say he's a great guy, I'm just going to go ahead and give you that one. He's this great guy. You know, they found this stuff, but that's fine. Do you think it's a little odd, though? Because Democrats tell me all the time that illegal aliens, they aren't getting health care. They're not voting. They're not slipping through the cracks. And then we get examples where it's like, holy shit, this guy slipped through your very tough vetting process. And he's also, by the way, a registered Democrat, but I thought that he couldn't vote. So I'm confused because you guys told me that this never happens.
I don't know if he's registered to vote. I think we should look into that. There's zero evidence.
What the fuck is she talking about? What does she mean he slipped through the cracks and was getting voting? What the
evidence that there's any significant issue with undocumented immigrants voting.
So you want the
committing
illegals to
voter
vote?
fraud? That would be voter fraud.
You want the
I
illegals
didn't
to
say
vote.
that. I said there's no significant evidence. There's no evidence actually at all that undocumented immigrants vote in significant numbers. Now, what I am in favor of is a pathway to citizenship for people who do pay taxes, who follow the rules, who, you know, whatever the guidelines you want to set out. So there's a predictable path so that people can be brought out of the shadows and contribute to society and contribute, you know, and have to abide by labor laws and all of that. That's what I think would benefit immigrants, that would benefit our society more broadly. And that's what I'm in favor of. And all of that, like that to me, in my mind, would be a functional immigration system where you don't have the sense of lawlessness and chaos and people who are working in the shadows, who, by the way, are frequently exploited and abused because they don't have legal status here.
Yeah, because they didn't come the right way. So if fewer people would come the wrong way, you could have more people able to come the right way. I want to talk a little bit about New York City. I don't know if you're a Mamdani fan or not, but you are a big fan of Mamdani?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you are. Okay. So he wants to provide $65 million for gender affirming care. I want to play the clip.
Based?
And then I want you to tell me why we should.
Hello, base department?
Let's take a listen.
It is absolutely disgusting that his federal administration do. They are looking to erase trans folks from the very fabric of this country. And it's up to us to actually show what leadership we look like. And one of the things that we've said, beyond saying you're ethnic tracing for LGBTQIA plus enrollers, beyond saying we're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA plus bears, is also that we're going to provide $65 million of funding for gender affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government will pull out from local providers for that.
So do you think that they should be footing the bill for the gender affirming care?
Yes.
I mean, Tommy, I think everyone should get healthcare. So yes, I think trans people should get healthcare as well. And what he's talking about is, number one, consistent with New York law, which requires gender affirming care to be provided. And number two, consistent with, you know, basic moral values. Yeah, I think trans people should be able to get.
This is the chattest thing you can do when they're like, so you think that the trans should be able to trans? And what do you say? Yes, Chad. What about it?
Healthcare. And one thing I want to say about this, which, well, I mean, personally, I think we should all get healthcare, access to healthcare.
So you think we should pay for everybody's gender transition?
I think we should pay for everyone's healthcare.
Pay
that
for
also includes gender affirming care.
Affirming care, which is medically required for trans people to feel okay. And I think it's disgusting the way that trans people have been turned into scapegoats by this administration, who is more interested in like fighting a culture war than really exposing the fact that they are doing the bidding of billionaires and that those are the people who we really should be upset about, not trans people, not immigrants. But these are all distraction tactics to keep us from talking about the issues that really actually unite Americans.
I'm not so sure paying for gender affirming care or transitions for everybody is necessarily something that unites Americans. I think there was a pretty effective ad leading up to the election last year.
That's definitely twisting my words. That's the opposite of what I said. What I said is the tactics are used to divide and distract from the fact that Trump
doesn't
is
want to do
giving
that?
The way that she says, like, I understand what she's trying to do, but every time Tomi Lahren's like, is that what you think? Yeah. It's so bad. It's not a good rhetorical device. It's not good.
Way the store to his billionaire buddies. So no, he wants to do that. And I support him doing that, by the way. And I also support him not running away from the issue. And this is part of what people like about Zoran. Putting the issue specifics aside, they like that he stands on business. He's sort of like the Democrats' Trump in a way. Maybe that'll make sense to you. He doesn't run away from his views. He stands on business. He says things that get people, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he said he'd stay here in New York City rather than run to Israel first thing when he's elected. And he's like, yeah, that's what I think. The fact that he actually fights for something and stands for affordability and being New York first, that's exactly why people have found him so incredibly appealing.
Is it affordable to pay $65 million for gender affirming care or $100 million for free lawyers to help illegals facing deportation? Is that in the best interest?
$65 million for New York City is literally pennies. It is quite literally pocket change. It is nothing in the city of New York. Like maybe in like a bumfuck like town in Mississippi, 65 million might be a lot. In New York, 65 million is literally a drop in the fucking bucket. That's less than like, just pick any skyscraper in Manhattan. Compare the prices to 65 million. Pennies, dude.
New York City and their budget.
Well, you may not be aware, but there are a lot of immigrants and there are a lot of queer people in New York City. So yes, there is a segment of New York society that will benefit. But more to the point, Zoran's politics are a unifying politics because he's led his campaign with, hey, let's bring down the cost of public transportation. Hey, let's make it so that people can afford childcare, so that childcare could actually be free. Hey, let's make sure people can actually afford rent in the city.
And how is he going to do
leadership,
that?
Which has mostly been, well, let me get to that in a second. Most leadership in New York City has been Democratic, and they have turned the city into a playground of the rich. And so many working and middle class people have been forced out of the city. He's saying, what if we ran the city actually for all of us? So we prioritize people who are working and middle class being able to actually live here. So I'll give you, I'm sure you are familiar with, some of his policy proposals, and I'm not going to go through all like 30 or whatever, but the top of the list, he's got free childcare. He's got free public buses. He's got an affordable housing surge plus a rent freeze for rent controlled apartments. And he's got, this pilot program that got a lot of attention for the public subsidized grocery stores to help in places that are food deserts.
Yeah, so
these
like
are honestly
commune.
very modest proposals that help to get the housing and the affordability crisis under control in a very expensive city.
I mean, how is he going to pay for the free for everybody? I'm just curious because
let's tax the rich, baby.
So we're just going to tax all the rich. So you think that'll work? You think if you just tax all?
Do you really think if you tax the rich, it's going to work? Yes, actually. Yes, actually, as a matter of fact. Yes.
Tax all the rich people that they're just gonna.
Tomi, you don't think rich people should pay a little bit more?
No.
You don't think the rich people are shirking their burden? I mean, the extraordinary amount of wealth that has been consolidated in the hands of the wealthy is insane, and they pay a lower tax burden if you look at their net worth than like average middle class people. It's overwhelmingly popular.
So you don't think they'll
tax
leave?
the rich, including among MAGA Republicans. I mean, this is something that Steve Bannon has talked about. Right now, the people that are leaving New York City are not the rich. It's the working class and the middle class who are priced out of that city. And so that's what he's laser focused on.
But you don't think that if you just pay for all of these free programs by taxing the rich, you think that the rich people are just going to stay there and keep their money there and they're just going to fund all this? You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Yes.
They've done research, Tomi, and they have found that there, is very little evidence that the rich will just pick up and leave New York because they have to pay a little bit more in taxes. New York has a lot that's going for it. You know, there's a lot of reasons why wealthy
the way
business
that
owners,
she talks, bro.
Wall Street, etc., want to congregate in this great American city. And no, I don't see that changing or going away. But I do think the city should be run more for its middle class and working class residents than for the rich. And apparently New Yorkers agree.
How much more are you going to have to tax these rich people to pay for all of the free programs for New Yorkers and for the illegal aliens and for
We'll tax them as much as we need to, Chad.
trans and all that? How much do you think, like how much more do you think you can squeeze out of the wealthy there?
Well, I'm not Zoran's budget director, so you have to ask him that question.
I don't know if he has one.
We would be headed in a better direction because I do think the rich deserve, I do think the rich should have to participate in society, that they should, yes, pay back into the society that helped them become so incredibly wealthy, and that we have to deal with these wildly...
It's so amazing that she just keeps saying like, yeah, I'm so sure that would work. Yeah. It's like, but you haven't proved why it wouldn't work. You haven't said anything that proves that it wouldn't work. You're just saying that you think it won't, huh? We found female Asmongold. No.
Gilded age plus levels of wealth inequality that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah. Socialism has usually worked so well as its cousin.
Like
communism.
literally the entire thing is just, there's no like pointing at why this policy wouldn't work. There isn't even like highlighting economists. There isn't even like just abundance theory. Yeah, well, Ezra Klein. Well, there isn't even an attempt. It's just, yeah. Isn't that, guys, doesn't she sound so silly for thinking that taxing the rich would help us fund programs and it would work? Isn't she so silly to think that? It's like,
you're right. We should definitely.
I mean, Tommy,
give
there's
that
a
go.
reason. There's a reason that Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician in America, because most people don't think of this as socialism. They see it as basic fairness.
Yeah,
they see it as
dumb.
a basic part of the social contract. You think
most people are dumb? It's crazy.
Americans are dumb?
Most Americans are not for socialism, babe. But if you want to run on that, go for it.
I just said, Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician in America. So you have to grapple with that. I mean, we've had many periods in our country where tax rates for the rich were much higher, and where the disparity between the wealthiest and, the bottom 10% or the bottom 20% was much smaller. And guess what? We're still a capitalist country.
I hope that you guys stick with that, and I hope that Mom Donnie is your poster child, and I hope that you run on it. I'm not going to give you any feedback because I too hope that that is the direction that you go. I think that's a great idea.
You don't think taxing the rich is popular?
I think you
Tommy,
should.
you don't think tax the rich is popular?
I think you guys
should talk to Steve Bannon about this. He has a different idea.
Well, I'm not a
different
Steve
idea
Bannon
about it.
apologist either, but I think you guys should run on that. I'm not going to interject, and I think that all illegal aliens should stay. You should make them all citizens. I think that you should tax the rich. I think you should provide.
But this is actually what you should do if you want to win elections, i.e. Mom Donnie. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Trans surgeries for everybody. I think you should have all
trans surgeries for everybody. Let's go.
Men and the women's
I think we should have healthcare across the board for everybody.
I think you
not
guys
just
should
for
just
trans
stay
people,
on this.
for all people.
Yeah, I think you guys should just stay on that message. I think it's going to work out really nice for us. So I'm
I never thought I would agree with Tomi Lahren. I agree. Everyone should be transgender and give everyone trans surgery, and that's it.
I'm not in any way going to ask you to change course. I think that's a great idea for you guys. The last thing I want to talk to you about is because I'm about ready to do my commentary on it. But do you think Bad Bunny is a good choice for the Super Bowl?
I'm not that knowledgeable about him, but it seems fine, and I don't know why it's a big deal. Seems like a great American artist, so sure.
He's not an American artist, but
he's Puerto Rican. That's part of America, dear.
Yeah, you don't think you have any problem with him saying the ICE is? Well, I'm sure you don't. Mother effers and sons of and that he's not going to perform here due to immigration.
America agrees with him on that.
You think so?
The majority of Americans think ICE has gone too far. They've watched videos of 79-year-old business owners be slammed to the ground and their ribs broken by ICE. So I think the American people are probably on board with that message at this point, Tommy.
Okay. Well, whoever you're talking to, I'm sure is. I'm not so sure the rest of the country is, but
I'm just looking at the polls. That's all.
Yeah, but you told me earlier the polls didn't matter, Krystal.
That are behind my statements, not just the vibes.
Matter. Remember that when you told me that earlier?
Because principles don't matter. Principles matter. Principles matter. And
polls
but
and
when you're talking
principles
about where
matter?
the American people are, that's when I consult the data. But in terms of what I
When
believe,
it's helpful to you.
those are principles. No, in terms of what I believe, those are my principles, and I stand by them even when they're unpopular.
Well, I love that you do that. So that's the one thing that we can agree on, is that you should stand by your principles and the polls when they're advantageous to your side. Krystal, I enjoy the conversation. Thank you for having it, and best of luck with the Democrat socialist endeavor in America.
Careful what you wish for, girl.
Oh, my mug!
Best of luck. Hey, thanks for watching. For more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course,
And
my
yes,
final-
guys, this was on Tomi Lahren's page. She got cooked on her page. Yes, it's brutal stuff. It's brutal stuff out here. Man, that was amazing. That was amazing. I like how the majority, I haven't watched Tomi Lahren in ages. I like how the majority of that was literally just, wait a minute. So you're telling me that if we tax the rich, we can pay for things that benefit everyday Americans? Let's see how that works out for you. It's like, what? Brother. I'm surprised you didn't get TOS for the bloodbath. The Tomi Lahren debate was in fact a bloodbath. So concerning looking into this. Oh my God. That was cringe. And I'm a cringe engineer, so I would know. Well,